the Mortality Mindset Podcast with Patrick Mathieu, designed to help you live a life of radical resilience at home, at work, everywhere.
This episode of the Mortality Mindset Podcast is brought to you by me. If you're not already a subscriber to my free weekly email, what is wrong with you? Seriously, go sign up for the Mortal Living newsletter at mortalliving.substack.com or at the bottom of my website, moralitymindset.com. I'll also put a link in the show notes. This episode is going to be a bit shorter because it essentially expands on the last one, where I discussed the two big existential questions that all of us need to answer in our lives. Who are you, and why are you here? If you missed it, I encourage you to go back and listen to that episode after you finish this one. So last time, when I discussed the question of why are you here, I said that for a lot of people, the enormity of the question just pushes us into a default mode. It's so much easier to answer by describing your role, like I'm a father or I'm a coach, or to answer with your job title. I also spoke about the pitfalls of those sort of shortcut answers. But there's a much deeper level to that question, an even more existential dimension. Think about it for a second. Why are you here? In this episode, I want to encourage you to go deeper and to think about something more profound. When I ask you why you're here, I want you to think about your legacy. Now, to help with this level of introspection, let me ask you two more questions. What sort of difference do you want to make with your life? And how do you want to be remembered? So let's discuss these one by one. The first one, what sort of difference do you want to make with your life? So how does that question make you feel? Maybe you're frightened by the sheer scale of the question. Or perhaps you get excited just thinking about all the possibilities. What difference do you want to make with your life? Or maybe you're concerned that perhaps you're not doing enough with your life. Now, let me be clear. I don't have any specific expectations in mind when I ask that. It's not all about living a life dedicated to solving, world hunger or reversing climate change. Yeah, those are possible answers to the question, but it's equally valid to respond that you want to raise children who are happy, well-adjusted members of society. In fact, all answers are valid, and you're free to change your answer anytime you want. I'm certainly not here to tell you how to live. After all, it's your life, isn't it? Oh, that's a discussion for the next episode. As for the second question in here, how do you want to be remembered? Understand that it's not about trying to make sure that everyone likes you. Trying to live your life to please everyone is a surefire way to make yourself miserable. Instead, think of those you love. Think of those you respect and admire. How do you want them to remember you? As I mentioned, these are enormous existential questions that can take a lifetime to answer. But there is a way to sharpen your focus and get more clarity about these questions. And I'll talk more about that in upcoming episodes. For now, I'll leave you to reflect on the question, why are you here? And think about the sub-questions. What sort of difference do you want to make with your life? And how do you want to be remembered?